Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel, Awfully Big Adventures, where today we're going to talk about what we do 30 days out before our cruise. We're currently about 30 days out from our trip, and we're just going to go through like a quick checklist of everything that we like to have done, or that we're thinking about, or planning to do 30 days before a trip.
So let's get started. The first thing we want to talk about is different types of documentation that you'll need to go on your cruise. Now you can sail with either a passport or with a birth certificate. If you choose to go with your birth certificate, that only works on a closed loop cruise. So for example, if you leave from the Port of Miami, you'll need to return to the Port of Miami. It's easier, I think, to travel with a passport. The only thing about that, it does take about 6 weeks to 2 months to get your passport processed from the date of that you submit your application to you actually receive it back in the mail. And they will keep your birth certificate during that time, so you want to make sure, if you're going the passport method, to have that probably several months in advance to make sure that you have everything that you need to complete your cruise on time. So this is the login screen you'll see after you log in to your cruise website. This is just Royal Caribbean. Other websites have pretty similar reservation ones. So once there, you'll click on your reservation number. And then it will pull up with the countdown to the cruise. As you can see, we're 31 days out on ours. And then over on the right hand side, at least for the Royal Caribbean one, you can go to check-in online. And once you click on that, it will pull up with an area where you can put in any of your personal information and anything that you can do ahead of time to set up your cruise vacation. We're going to show you real quick how to set up your onboard expense account. So you can see on this one what you'll do on a cruise ship. Instead of using cash or a credit card for anything that you buy, such as drinks, specialty dining, photos, you use your room key for everything on the ship, and they just swipe your key and it gets charged back to your room. And you can set that up before you leave on your cruise vacation. Much like buying anything else online, you'll go and put in your credit card information, and it's already stored. When you get to the pier, they'll ask to see your card again, they'll swipe it, and they may put a $200 or $300 hold on your account. It just depends. You can always ask at the cruise pier how much of a hold that they might be placing. And then you're good to go, and you just use your ship card for all your reservations for the rest of your sailing trip. The next thing we want to talk about is how you'll actually get to the cruise port. Now, some people may prefer to drive, you may prefer to fly. Whichever route you go with, you do want to make sure that you have some things reserved and set up in advance. For us, we tend to fly to the cruise ports. It's just a little bit more convenient. We buy our tickets at least around 70 days before. That's when they tend to be the cheapest. There are some apps out there that you can get that will watch airfare prices for you. They'll alert you when prices drop. Sometimes you can book them even much further out than that for pretty good prices. So we have airfare booked, but we also look into park and fly reservations. The airport that we go to, we prefer to park at an offsite facility. It's much cheaper. A lot of times we can get a Groupon for the parking there, and it only comes out to several dollars a day as opposed to what the airport might charge. A little bit more inconvenient in the sense that you take a shuttle into the airport, but it's really not that much difference, and it saves you a good bit of money. So we reserve our space online, usually several months in advance, at least a month in advance, and that way we have that paid for, booked, and ready before we leave on our cruise. If you're driving to the port, you can park at the cruise port. It is the most expensive parking while there. The benefit to that is the porters can get your luggage right from your car, so it's really convenient that way. But for a little bit cheaper, you can park at an off-site parking garage. They'll shuttle you into the cruise port, and the porters will take care of you from there. You just want to go online, read some different reviews about different parking garages or facilities, and see what the best price is and what will be best for you. in your cruise travels.
So some other things that you might want to think about doing before you go on your cruise is doing some online research about the ship. I always look for reviews on anything before I purchase it. And my favorite place to do that for cruising is called Cruise Critic. And it's a huge online forum with thousands of users that have posted photo reviews, very extensive reviews of pretty much every cruise ship that's out there. They also do kind of a community-based thing where you can get together with people that are going on your sailing, and you can talk beforehand, and they do what they call a meet and mingle whenever you're on your ship. And what that is, it's like it's organized through the cruise line, and they provide snacks, and a lot of times officers will come and they'll talk to you all, and you can ask questions, and it's a great way to meet new people from all over the country or even all over the world and make some new friends. We've met several friends through Cruise Critic, and even some that we are still traveling with. We're going on our upcoming trip, we're going with someone that we met on a cruise a few years ago, and this will be like our third cruise together. It's a lot of fun.
The next thing we wanted to talk about is shore excursions. Now, after you book your cruise, you can log into your account on the cruise website, and it'll give you your itinerary for the days. It'll show you what days you're at sea, what days you're in port, and for each port day, it will come up with usually a fairly long list of different shore excursions that you can do. It'll list what type of activity it is, how much it costs, how long, how many hours the excursion is, and usually if it's like a light or strenuous type of physical activity. So you can go online that way and you can book excursions. The good thing about booking excursions to the cruise line is that they do ensure that you make it to the ship. And so that way, if for some reason your tour bus breaks down, your taxis break down, the cruise line would pay to have you sent to the next port if for some reason the ship had to leave you in port. That's a pretty rare occurrence, but some things do happen sometimes. A cheaper alternative, and one that we've done a number of times, is to book through a third party. And so you skip booking through the cruise line, and you can pay significantly cheaper in some instances. Now with that, you don't have the same insurance about getting to fly to the next port, for example, if for some reason you miss the ship, but the cost of the excursion itself can be pretty cheap. What we usually do is we go on TripAdvisor, we look at that particular port, and we research different excursions, different tour companies, and in many cases you'll probably find that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of reviews, and the reviews will tell you often what you are wanting to know or need to know about that particular excursion. Now, keeping in mind it's their livelihood, so it's in their best interest to give you good customer service, and they do take every measure that they can to get you back to the port in time, because they don't want unhappy customers. So they will take good care of you. You're still in good hands that way. Some people just like the added assurance of booking an excursion through the cruise line.
So another thing that I prefer over booking a shore excursion through the cruise line is the size of the tour group. When you book through the cruise line, you're often going with over 100 people, and it can be very crowded. You don't get really like personalized attention, and oftentimes I just felt like kind of cattle that's herded through an island very quickly. You're just being pushed along to as fast as possible, and it just wasn't very enjoyable for me, especially for the price that you pay. So when you book, we've often booked through like a travel agent, and the tour size, it's cheaper, and the tour size is usually between 6 and 8 people, so you get a lot more personalized attention. You can actually spend more time at places because you don't have to worry about having so many people, moving along. And it's just something that I definitely prefer over booking through the cruise line. Another tool that we like to use when planning our trips is a list-making app. The one we prefer is called Wunderlist. It is available in the App Store for iPhone and Mac, as well as on Android platforms. What makes this list app unique is its ability to share lists amongst multiple people. We have one cruise packing list that we have used and modified over the past couple of years, and we're able to share it across our devices. It's incredibly useful whenever it's crunch time, like the day before you leave and everyone is running around making sure nothing is forgotten. We have this list pulled up on both of our phones, and they stay synced up as we're both checking stuff off. So when Adam checks off that he packed binoculars, it notifies my phone that binoculars have been completed, and vice versa. So whenever I complete something on my phone, it notifies his phone that that has been completed. It definitely makes it a lot easier whenever you're making sure things aren't getting double packed and that nothing gets forgotten. The next thing I like to do about 30 days out is come up with some sort of packing / planning space. Personally, I like to have, we have an extra bedroom, and I like to just kind of stack stuff up in there that I know that I'm no longer going to use. Like, our cruise is in January, so I'm not going to be wearing shorts on a day-to-day basis, so I'll wash and fold up all my shorts and put in there, or t-shirts. But you could even do this if you're limited on space, or you don't really want to take up an entire room for packing, which I understand that's kind of ridiculous. You could do just a bag, and you could put your sandals in there and your clothes, and that way when you do get time to pack your suitcase or your carry-on bag or what have you, you can just grab everything up you've already been kind of thinking about it. Also helps you don't forget anything. If you're just, the moment it pops in your head, you just go and put it over there in that designated space that you have for packing and planning.
Another thing that we like to do about 30 days out is start purchasing any special toiletries that we might need, any travel size items. Otherwise, it can be a little bit costly to buy them in one bulk trip right before the cruise. You spend the same amount of money either way, but it can be nice to look for sales. For example, if you like Target, you can use the Cartwheel app or just look at any of the weekly sale papers. And sometimes they'll have really good deals on different items that you might want to take. And so you can buy those when they're on sale and then just have them ready to go.
So speaking of sales, something I did for this trip was purchase sunscreen and stuff towards the end of the summer when it was all on clearance or all on sale at different stores. And that is something that I would set aside in just a bag in my planning space, my packing space, that I would just set aside some toiletries or stuff that I bought on sale throughout the year that I know I'm going to use for this trip. It's a great way to just kind of make sure you don't lose it if it's all in one spot.
Thing we like to do about 30 days in advance is to go ahead and print our luggage tags that's issued by the cruise line and that we'll use once we get to the port. And this can be done at least on Royal's website as part of the online check-in process. And in about 40 days in advance or so, it'll come up with a link where you can click on print paper luggage tags. Once you have that open, it will give you a sheet that you print out, and it shows what deck you're on, which part of the ship you're on, and it will also have a space where you can write your name in. And this you don't need to add on to your luggage until you get to the pier itself. So once you get that page printed out, it comes into a little strip that you cut out. And for us, we like to purchase these plastic sleeve protectors. Otherwise, it says you can just staple it around the handle. But we found that sometimes if it's raining at the port or just through wear and tear, sometimes these things can come off of your luggage. And so they make specialty ones you can buy on Amazon. Different cruise lines, the size of the luggage tag may vary a little bit. So these are specific to Royal. I think Norwegian, theirs are slightly larger. And so you just want to make sure that you have one that fits with the cruise line that you're sailing. They come in different package size. I think this one had a package of 6, and it has a nice metal band that goes around your handle and screws shut, and that keeps it pretty secure, and it's always stayed on our luggage just fine, and helps us to have a little bit more peace of mind knowing that our tags will stay on there with no problem. So that's it as far as the bulk of the things that we like to have done about 30 days out. Of course, it will vary depending on how much planning you like to do. But as much as we can, we like to be prepared. And so that way, when it does come down to the week before, we don't find ourselves in a mega crunch. And we can pack a little bit more leisurely and not be stressed out going into our vacation. For some ideas on other things that we like to pack, look at some of our other videos. And we hope that you'll follow our journey. Thanks for watching.